Oh, hi everybody, I'm Chris Kohler and you are watching Game Life. Hey, guess what? Wii Fit is finally out in North America. It is available today, and Nintendo is going to send in a personal trainer, and he is going to get me totally ripped, and it's going to be probably a really, really hard job. And after that, we've got Alex Handy here. He's a Wired Magazine contributor and fellow video game collector, and we're going to talk about buying old retro games at flea markets and thrift stores all around the city and show you some of our best finds. Okay, Paul, what are we going to do first?
We're going to do the half moon pose.
All right.
It's a yoga move, great for balance, stability, core and trunk flexibility and stability as well. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Right.
I've been doing this, but maybe I haven't been doing it the right way, so let me know.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at it and we'll go from there.
All right, let's start off.
Great. So you're in good position.
Okay.
Don't forget to breathe. And what I love so much about this is that you actually get to track your progress, breathing, and you're getting this really great feedback about your center of gravity and how you're working. Hula hooping. You're familiar with this one, right?
I'm familiar with the concept, yes.
Okay. Well, you're going to hula hoop using your trunk, getting that nice, good circular motion going, keeping that hoop up the whole time.
So it's pretty much just like this, and you
Exactly.
get the whole body going.
Exactly.
And it's easy for the first 5 seconds. And also, may I point out to everyone watching, this is the sexiest thing you will see today.
There's an option to catch other hula hoops, which will actually incorporate more muscles of your body. So if you lean into that, there you go. You
got one.
So now you're increasing the movement in your body, still keeping the core moving, getting that cardiovascular work as well. So you're working out.
The other thing is that as a gamer, you're constantly challenged to like beat your score on these things. So I mean, the more hula hoops you get, the higher your score is.
You're really good at this.
I've been doing this. So Paul, I'm really sweating up a storm here actually after my hula hooping, but I really wanted to ask you before you go, as a fitness expert, what do you think about Wii Fit?
From the fitness perspective, I think the Wii Fit is amazing because it's going to give you all that feedback that you lack in your life if you don't have something giving that feedback to you. So what's great about it is you are working the musculature. It hits every facet of fitness. So it's cardiovascular, it's got the flexibility and the fun balance games. So it's not only is it fun, but it's just a great way to get started, or even if you're like a weekend warrior, it keeps you going, it keeps you on track. It's a fantastic tool for that as well.
Cool. Yeah, well, I mean, I've been using it for quite a while. I really enjoy it, and you can buy it now too. It's out May 19th. So, you know, you can go onto eBay now and find any kind of old retro video game that you can possibly imagine, and you're going to pay a pretty high price for it. You can have it. Any childhood treasure that you used to have, you can find it. Whether it's Dr. Mario or Phantasy Star 2, or even the little statues of Mario they used to sell back in the 80s. But for me, see, I don't really do that. I like collecting retro video games, but it's about the thrill of the hunt.
Absolutely. There's nothing quite like digging through a box of random cartridges, CDs, etc., and coming across that one TurboGrafx game or that one impossible to find PlayStation 1 RPG.
But you can still kind of rip yourself off if you're going to flea markets, tag sales, thrift stores, if you're buying stuff that you can actually maybe even get cheaper on eBay. So here's some of the stuff that we found. Alex, what's what are the more interesting things here for you?
Well, we've got some, of course, the holy grail for most Nintendo files is the Game Watch. And unfortunately, when I found this one at the Laney College Flea Market in Oakland, the fellow who had it knew what it was and charged me $30.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty much the going rate for this without the box. But still, if you ever see Game & Watches, certainly snap them up.
Yeah, Nintendo used to make these, their old LCD video games. I mean, you probably played a lot of these when you were a kid, maybe not the Nintendo brand, but yeah, there's Super Mario ones, there's Legend of Zelda ones, and they made quite a few of them, but they are actually kind of rare. They fetch a pretty high price in Tokyo. So yeah, I mean, actually paying $30 for one of these isn't that bad.
Not too bad.
Paying $30 for an old Super Nintendo cartridge, even if it's, say, Chrono Trigger, might be getting a little ripped off. What did you pay for this one?
Actually, I got this at a computer recycling center in Berkeley. It was brought in by a young woman who was recycling her Super Nintendo. My wife was excited to see that she was also an RPG fan, and there were some Final Fantasies, but of course, Chrono Trigger was the real gem there. And I would take issue with your $30 evaluation of this.
Oh, really?
Because a sealed copy of this went for $1,400 on eBay a couple weeks ago.
Well, a sealed copy, yeah, is a lot different than a
Certainly, certainly.
Right.
And then the boxed copies will always be worth more, like your 5200 game.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is something that I found actually in a thrift store in San Francisco. It's called Zenji. It's a game for the Atari 5200 by Activision, and it's actually one of the more rare Atari 5200 games. But the thing is, it's actually still sealed, still in the box. You know, you got the seam in the back there, meaning, you know, this is as mint comes. Now, the thing with sealed games is that there really is no, because there are so few of them, it's hard to figure out what the price is. There are no like price guides that tell you exactly how much sealed games are going to be
Actually,
worth.
well, not the sealed ones, but there are price guides for the boxed copies.
Oh, there are price guides out there. Digitalpress.com is a good place to go and get video game prices.
And Video Game Collector Magazine is my personal favorite. It's
Right.
quarterly, and it's just like a comic book guide.
And unfortunately for, you know, collectors like me, the only way that I could actually figure out how much somebody would pay for this would be to actually put it on eBay and see what would happen when two people started fighting over it. Same thing with this. Now, this I couldn't really find a lot of information on when I first bought it. It's a game called Journey Escape. Yeah, the band Journey made a video game for the Atari 2600. But this is actually the version that they would send out to stores to put in their Atari demo machines so that people could come over and check the game out. And it's got a serial number on it. There were only a couple hundred of these made. And again, just sort of turned up in a thrift store. You know, so if you're going to your local thrift stores, you know, always look, always ask if they have any video games anywhere. You know, you never know what you might turn up.
Absolutely.
And on that subject, see, I've made some pretty good finds. I would consider these two to be pretty good thrift store finds for retro video games. But Alex, and the reason why I asked him here today, as it turns out, basically wins at life. For this amazing flea market find that he just made. It was at the Laney College Flea Market out in the East Bay. And okay, Alex,
about a month ago now.
About a month ago now.
Well, it's hard to see in these static bags, but there are little chips in here, you'll notice. So I found a lot of about 50 EPROMs, these little chips that were made in the early 80s and were used for console video games. This is what you would develop a game on. You would burn it to one of these chips, seed it into this sort of a board, and then slide it into your console, and that's how you would write for it, unlike now where you have a development version of an Xbox or you have to have a specific console.
Yeah, all of these chips, if inserted into these boards, will run on, as it turns out, the ColecoVision. That's what a lot of these are for.
But the find that I made, which included two unknown ColecoVision games, The Sword and the Sorcerer and Dragon Slayer for ColecoVision, also included some chips for the Atari 2600, which I have buried under here.
Now, this is the really interesting thing about these. These games, I mean, they're unreleased. I mean, occasionally people will find unreleased retro video games, you know, in the form of EPROMs, development chips at flea markets. But you pretty much found, what, 3 games that had never before been seen, had been believed to maybe exist, but we actually have the games on these chips
Absolutely,
now.
And it's kind of silly, frankly, the game I found, but it's actually not that bad of a game. It's for the Atari 2600, and it's called Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park. Now, there's a bit of a story behind it. Originally, it was a Japanese game for the MSX, which was Sony's home computer system.
Okay.
And then it was ported to the ColecoVision
Right.
and actually released as Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park. But the ColecoVision and the Atari 2600 were completely different systems, so it was needed, when they wanted to release it for the Atari, they had to rewrite it completely. Now, I don't know if your viewers know this, but Coleco, the company that did ColecoVision, also owned Cabbage Patch Kids.
Right, they made Cabbage Patch Kids.
So the 80s was very lucrative for them.
Yeah.
Not only did we get Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park, which had not been played by anyone who had spoken about it since 1984, we also got 12 revisions of it. So you could see the actual process of development as we checked the ROMs and saw what was added when and how it evolved. And
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being here today. This is really exciting.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris.
And now I pretty much know that none of my flea market finds that I ever make are going to be as good as this, but